Hi guys, it's Indigo, aka Stardust Geometry, and this is the Q&A video that I said that I'd make when I hit my next 100 followers, which is a really small number, especially compared to where I have been with blogs that I've had in the past. But I hit it, here it is, a week later. So I will start with the questions, which by the way, it's like 5 questions, but I don't know. So first is from Charlie, aka Dark Balloons. First question is, how are you so awesome? I'm not awesome at all. I don't think I'm cool or anything. It's much easier to pretend to be cool online, I think. But I'm glad you think I am. And then the top 5 Twin Peaks scenes and why. This is really hard. So I just want to say both seasons, but I can't. Well, actually, I'm gonna list. Can I just say the pilot is one top scene because that is probably one of my favorite episodes. Just it's longer than the other ones. You get more in depth. You get into the story. Everybody's crying. It's great. And also the introductions into the characters and their lives and everything. I think that's really interesting, and how you kind of like it goes through a lot of different people, but you are able to keep the narrative and you kind of get this glimpse into the quiet little world of Twin Peaks. And then second favorite would probably have to be Albert's introduction, which I think is in episode 3. Not positive. It all just kind of blurs together in my mind. But I can actually quote that word for word, which I've done. Like when Beck and I were watching with Aisha the other day, not the other day, the other week, whatever time. It's weird, but I was literally sitting in front of my computer just mouthing the words along with him, and he's such an asshole. I love him. He's basically taken over my life, and I don't know how it happened. I really don't know, because I didn't hate him when I first watched Twin Peaks, but I definitely wasn't really attached to him in any particular way. And then somehow over the course of like rewatching different episodes, talking about it, and then with Redimancy, with Becca, it's just, I don't know. I love him so much, and it makes no sense at all. And okay, so it's scene 3. It's really hard. This is a really hard question, Charlie. I think when Audrey is naked in Dale's bed and he walks into his room with the Great Northern and finds her, and then just the talk that they have and the level of respect that Dale shows for her, and which I don't believe anybody's ever shown Audrey. And I think that's a really powerful scene. As much as I personally would have loved to see them, get together, but it wouldn't have. I don't think it would have worked really in the canon of Twin Peaks. And I think also Kyle said that it didn't work. Like it went against Dale Cooper's character, so he had input into that. But also, I love their relationship, and how much Dale being in Twin Peaks plays into Audrey's character arc and her entire storyline, and how he influences her directly and indirectly into becoming this strong, independent woman that can take care of things, and not just kind of causing trouble for trouble's sake. And my next top favorite scene slash part, no, probably when Ed gets all the grease on Nadine's cotton balls for a drape runner, and she freaks out, and he's not, he's scared, and then the next day he comes in, and she just is so happy because the grease that he drops me, the drape runner, is completely silent. I think that's one of my favorite scenes as well, because it's so happy. It's realistic, and also Nadine's a little crazy when it comes to her drape runners. So to see her being happy about it makes me happy. And then is my last top scene would have to be, no, this isn't a happy scene, but at the very, very end of season 2, when Dale goes into the lodge and Harry sits on the log outside of the circle of sycamore trees and just waits, and he doesn't move, and he tells Andy to bring him food, to bring him coffee, because he wants to be there when Dale comes back out. That gets me. It hurts a lot. I don't like Dale being in the lodge at all, but the fact that Harry stays there and he waits because he cares so much, and just, I think Harry and Dale's whole relationship, their friendship, is one of my favorite things, because they don't know each other for that long. They're thrown into this situation that looks like one thing, but it turns out to be another. And just the way that they get to know each other, and how quickly they come to trust each other and each other's judgments, and everything like that makes me really happy. And you just wanted to say that you adore me. I adore you too. And if/when, because I need to start thinking when I go to London next semester, probably gonna freak out on you, because we're gonna meet up and have coffee and talk poetry and everything, and it will be wonderful. Okay, and then the next 2 questions are from Becca, who is Two Broken Stone, and honestly, if you're following me and you don't know her URL or who she is, I don't know what to say. And you should go follow her if you're not following her already. So she wants me to talk about the ocean. Let me preface this by saying that Becca loves the ocean as well, but she also uses my love of the ocean against me, and I don't know, 5 times, 3 to 5 times at least in the past few months, she'll just reblog pictures of like the ocean and the sea, especially up in Canada, in Nova Scotia. You say Nova Scotia? My mom says Nova Scotia, so I started saying it that way, but I don't know what's correct. But yeah, she'll just reblog stuff to make me have emotional breakdowns over the ocean, and to kind of convince me that I should go and move to Canada, which in one crazy conversation we accidentally planned like the next 5 years of my life, and then ended up with me going to grad school in her province for English literature. So her plan may or may not be working. But the ocean, I grew up in Seattle. We lived in Seattle for a few years, and then most of my childhood we actually lived on an island that was connected to Seattle by a bridge. And so I just, to me, the ocean, like, it was always there. I could always hear the waves no matter where I was, because the island, but like, it was big, and especially when I went back to Seattle this past summer, and I went to the island that I grew up on, like, it felt bigger than I remembered, but it was also a lot smaller. And so, like, I would just go swim in Puget Sound and go jump off of docks into the sea, and it was amazing. And to me, the sea is kind of synonymous with home. And as much as I love Austin, and honestly, I don't think I could live anywhere else in Texas. Austin's kind of like the place. And I didn't like it here for a really, really long time, but it's been 7 years. I'm kind of in love with it. But there's no ocean. Like, we have lakes that are really just parts of rivers that pass through Austin and Texas that have been renamed as lakes, and I don't know why, and it bugs me. And then there's also like a natural spring pool, which is really cool, but it's not the same as the ocean and being able to go and, it's literally like just water as far as you can see until it disappears into the horizon, and just the sounds and the smells. And for me, it's also really peaceful. This summer, because I took a trip up to the Northwest, and I stayed with one of my best friends from middle school, and she lives in Portland right now, so she took me down to this area of the water that was below her school, and I was just being back there and just, catching up, because we haven't seen each other for 3 years now, because I was going to go to PNCA up in Portland, and so my parents and I flew up and visited, and I spent a day with her then. But like, to really just be with her by the water, to hear, like the seagulls, the waves, the wind, the way that the sun was setting on the water is just amazing. And I miss it more than I did now that I've been back. And I've seen it and I've experienced it again. It's just, it's a horrible longing. And in my poetry workshop class last semester, I actually wrote a villanelle, which isn't properly a villanelle because I just gave up on doing one of the rules for the rhymes. But at that point, I was like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm gonna get a pretty good grade anyways. But I wrote a villanelle about the ocean and the water and kind of what it means to me. I think I posted it on here at some point last semester. So you can probably find it if you look for it, but I don't know. And then I should also talk about Rhadamancy. This is an interesting subject because, as I'm sure most of you know, it didn't even start off as we were going to write this thing or it was going to exist. It was Becca reblogged, I think it was Blue Velvet Caps, and just put some arbitrary tags, and then I ran with it, and then she ran with it, and then it just kind of like it built, and it snowballed, and 3-4 months later we have, I don't even know how many thousands of words of just Skype. I want to say 300,000 to 500,000. We keep adding every day, which is kind of problematic because that just means that there's more that we have to write. And it's gone from being like a college AU to spanning, I think it's 30 years of time, and like it's crazy, and I love it so much because it's kind of like it's really self-indulgent. Like, it's horribly self-indulgent, and I think it's both of our like happy places, happiest happy place. But like there's so much pain, and we meant for it to be like really happy and fluffy, and that just didn't happen. Like there are a lot of really happy parts, especially later on. I don't really want to give too much away, but there's this one period of time that's horrible. Like everything hurts. Like there's so much bad shit that happens, and then after that, there's the introduction of a new character, and he's so happy, and it's wonderful. And like, yeah, there's kind of, there's little turbulence with him, but there's like the big bad thing, and then it's pretty much kind of smooth sailing for the most part. And this has ruined my life, taken over my life. Like, it's gotten to the point where I was telling Becca, there's one time the past couple of weeks where I was driving to Target, and I started thinking about, like, oh, what if these characters were, doing this, and what if this happened? And then it made myself really, really sad. And then, because I was thinking about that and I wasn't necessarily paying as much attention to the road as I should have been, I almost got hit by a crazy asshole driver, because Texas is full of crazy asshole drivers. I think that's the lowest point of emotional ruin because of this. That's not true. Not emotional ruin. Physical harm? I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But we're going to be writing this forever. And I think I have maybe 5,000 words written. And Becca's hit over 20,000. And now it's going to be even harder for me to write because school is pretty much taking over my life now. But I'm gonna try and be really dedicated, because the thing is that, like, I've written and then I've deleted and rewritten and deleted and rewritten stuff where I need to just write it, get it out, and move on to the next part. I have no idea when we're gonna finish it. I don't know if we're ever gonna finish it. But it's amazing. It's probably my favorite, like, creative writing project I've ever been a part of, apart from, just writing my own poetry, stuff like that. And I'm really excited for people to read it. Like, I think it's a really amazing story, even if you don't know anything about Twin Peaks, because I think it's kind of really cool, because it starts out before Twin Peaks, and then it, like, goes through college. Then we get to the Twin Peaks universe, where I think we mostly stick to canon, and then it goes after. So, you don't necessarily have to have an inherent knowledge of Twin Peaks going into it, but it can also be helpful or detrimental because we go against canon with certain things. That's all I'm going to say, because I could probably talk about it forever. And I'm pretty sure when Olivia and I had our picnic at Silker Park, I talked about it for like 20 or 30 minutes straight, which I'm not going to do for you guys. As much as I want to. But it's really, really lovely. And nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense anymore because of it, because nothing makes sense. It's like, and the weird thing is that, it's like 3 months, 3 to 4 months, and the only disagreements we've ever had have been about, like, oh, this doesn't actually work with the timeline, or stuff like that. But even, because we've created three or four original characters at this point for the story, and with, like, the characters that we're building that are built from the Twin Peaks characters, it's easier to kind of, for us to both have the same understandings of the characters as far as, like, their personality, their likes, their dislikes, how they would act in certain situations. But with these characters that we've created for the story, we have no basis, like, no comparison, but we've both had the same thoughts for them, which is kind of crazy in a good way. But it's just, I think, another example of our Canada to Texas mind reading, because we essentially have the same brain, and it's really crazy. And I love it. I mean, it works out really, really well for this because we're always on the same page. We always both know what's going on, and all of that. That's really all I'm gonna say now. And then the last question is from Ella, who's, oh god, I don't even know how you say your URL, Ella. I always read it Elatrometer, but Ellatrometer, I don't know. She's the cutest person on the face of the earth, essentially. And her question, wait, no, I have to find it. Sorry, I thought I had everything pulled up, but I apparently don't have everything pulled up already. Oh no. Okay, she asked, did you have to go to a conference to become this cute or not? Or what? No. No conference, although I did go to a blogging conference, which was amazing. It was such a good experience. Where a lot of it, like, they did talk about, you know, sparkly, being yourself, rocking who you are. But like I said before, I don't think I'm cute. I think I can pretend to be cool. I know how to, like, use makeup and dress myself, and deal with this mane of hair. But see, we do this thing. I say she's really cute, she says I'm cuter, and we just go back and forth until we're both just key smashing at each other in caps. That's how our friendship works. That's all the questions. I thought this was going to be like 10 minutes, but it's really 22 minutes. I apologize. I don't know how you guys do it with like 50 questions and not go on forever. But I am going to go get dinner before it gets dark, which won't be for another couple hours. But yeah, congratulations if you made it to the end of this. I'm sorry, I'm really awkward, and I talk with my hands a lot, but you couldn't see them because of the camera angle. Okay, I love all of you. I hope you're having really great days and nights and everything in between.